Now, the Bram Weinstein Show on Washington's new home for sports, ESPN 630.
Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. 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 Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. How we feeling? Soto DEFCON 4, Day 2. How are we feeling about that? Good?
Dog and fire gift. This is fine.
Yeah? I got asked to go to a radio station in Seattle. They were so hot to try on trying to acquire him. And I had to throw some cold water on them.
What makes them think they're getting him?
They got a lot of young players that are good, I guess.
They sound like the
Are they
Wizards
trading
of
all
the
of
West.
Yeah.
You got to convince me of all of your guys.
Right. All right. Well, I will say this, though. Of places where if we actually do trade them, which I still cannot believe might happen, but if we do, I'd rather ship him off to a place where we're kind of never going to see him.
Yeah, you send that Julio Rodriguez guy back. I'm fine.
Correct. That's what I said to them on the radio. Because they said to me, what do you think of him? And I go, well, I assume you'd be giving him if you're going to get Soto. Yeah. And he was like, really? And I'm like, what are you talking about? We have Babe Ruth. What are you talking about? Everything's on the table if you want our guy.
Yeah.
We'll take that guy back. Thanks.
Correct. Yeah. That guy's coming back.
Yeah. And all your other good players that won 14 games in a row, they're all coming back. All of them. It's right on. All right. I don't normally do this, but in our rundown, decided to not tell you what the total Pepe Sylvia thing that I went through this morning of trying to figure out what the hell is going on around here.
I just want to let everyone know you and I have worked together for 6 years, had a slight gap in one of those years, but you've never done that to me. You said
this is so off the charts.
I'm not telling you what we're doing in the opening segment. Yeah. It's a surprise.
Surprise.
So
it's full. I will admit that there are a lot of holes in this, and it's full Pepe.
Man.
It's full Pepe Sylvia, but there's a lot happening that has feels like has come out of nowhere and doesn't make any sense.
All right, I agree.
Okay,
got me so far.
Okay, all right. So let me start with, and this starts with what's going on with the Nationals right now and what's been going on for the past few months, which was, while a lot of the moves that occurred over the last couple of years should have probably given us more than a hint that the Lerners were looking into divesting the team.
Yeah.
When they did it, most people who follow it very closely were a little surprised by that, right? That's fair to say. They also have been in no rush to do this, i.e., I'm sure they are vetting people out, and there was some reporting about, this one particular billionaire recently that was there and visited. So they're going through with the motions of it. They have not committed to literally selling the team yet, right? Which is odd.
Right.
To actually put it for sale, but then say we may not do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, so that's weird, right? That's weird.
Sure.
They've done a couple of other minor things, like securing the futures of people that are going to be, and I think that probably makes sense for whoever the owner is, whether it's them or not.
It's just a year, too.
Okay. Then the Soto stuff comes up, right?
Yeah.
Why are they motivated to get a deal done with him, right? Why? They're not going to be here. Mm-hmm. They're selling the team.
Right.
Logically, and I actually think Scott Boras alluded to this yesterday, he kind of wants to know who he's going to be playing for.
Sure.
And I think that's actually a fair thing to say back.
I would agree.
Even in taking the chance of literally turning down the biggest contract in terms of guaranteed money. All right? But the Lerners are motivated to do it, because that's not a joke when you put something like that in front of somebody.
Right.
So why are they doing that? Well, okay, maybe they don't really want to be out of the sports business, right? Okay, so what do they do extraordinarily well as a family? They redevelop real estate, right? And part of the sale of the team, and to me, feels as if they've kind of done all they literally can with using the team to redevelop an entire area of the city. And I think they deserve a round of applause for what they've done in and around Nationals Park to take an area of town that I never set foot in my first 45 years, on Earth and living around here, and turned it into one of the most sought after areas to live in, dine in, enjoy, take entertainment in, all that. They've done all that, right? And part of me feels like, wow, they kind of use the Nationals as a real estate play more than a love of the game. The family just loves sports. But there's something here, legacy-wise, that feels like, for some reason, makes sense to them. So they're either signing Soto because they actually want to retain the team, or they're signing Soto because, as you put yesterday, they want everyone to have very good feelings about them, that they were good stewards for the organization.
Yep.
They brought a World Series. They built a nice park. They redeveloped this part of town. They made Washington a better city. And, oh, by the way, we didn't let the best generational player go at 23 prematurely. We got it done for you. Here's your parting gift, right?
Another generational player.
Some of the other things that were surprising about the announcement that they wanted to sell the team was no one got a whiff of that. And two, the family, at least by all accounts, this is unlike the Angelos family, actually really like being in professional sports, right?
Yeah, right.
You've never heard that they're disengaged owners.
Yeah, of course not.
They don't want to be there. They don't really care. No, that's never what you hear.
Yeah.
What is happening in this town right now that needs redevelopment and ownership that could actually make a redevelopment project happen?
You think they're making a play for
the Commanders?
Team.
I do. I don't think that they're necessarily making a play for it. I think they're positioning themselves for, if the time comes, they will have the wherewithal, the money, and clearly the credentials to do exactly what the NFL and this region would want to happen. They don't dislike sports.
Yeah.
They are a very engaged family. Why then are they walking away from a premier franchise? Are they leveraged? No. Have they done everything they could possibly do? Looks like it.
Maybe, yeah.
There is another franchise that has the same issues that the Nationals had when they bought them in the first place, and they have the unique wherewithal in this region to do the types of things that team is openly talking about doing. Redeveloping an entire area, having commander land. They clearly have a different relationship with the local jurisdictions, especially D.C., where their stadium was cleared. I'm not saying that they're making a play to do it. I woke up thinking they might just be setting themselves up to swoop in if some kind of decision occurs, whether willingly or unwillingly, to cede the team. Whether the Snyders decide to sell it on their own, or, as some people believe, and I still think is unlikely, they get forced to in some way. I don't think that's going to happen. But they may, come around to all this public pressure and all these things, and they're trying to build a stadium. They're having a very hard time doing it all of a sudden.
Yeah, of course.
Virginia is put that on ice and on hold for now. RFK, there were letters from city councilmen saying there's no more debate about this. It's not happening.
Yeah.
And Maryland's been actually quite quiet through all of this process since. They haven't said really a word. We assume that their plan was on the table, but it's very little public money towards the building of an actual stadium.
That's right.
Which team actually just built the stadium in Washington, D.C.? The Lerner family did. Would the city council be more open and apt to hearing out the vision of what the RFK area would look like that would include a Commander Stadium there if it came from them? Maybe. So there's a part of me that woke up today that went, boy, that was such a weird thing for them to do, to just walk. Yet somehow they're staying really engaged in the future of the Nationals, almost like a tacit sign of, we have your best interests for the community, and we know that Juan Soto falls in that category of best interests. Don't forget about us if and when the day comes that the NFL has a need for new ownership for the Washington NFL franchise. And we actually are uniquely positioned to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish in terms of real estate acquisition and development. So I know that that's kind of probably putting a lot of thoughts into people's heads, and the Lerners might hear this and go, what the hell is he talking about? But I've just not been able to figure out what's been going on from the get-go with many of these things. And I do wonder if they feel like, we put baseball in a good place here, what would our family legacy from a sports perspective and real estate perspective be if we got the team back, that's been the most important franchise in this town, back in a place where it's in the good graces of the entire region? What would that mean? What would their value be? Could we actually accomplish that? So I'm not saying that they're trying to backdoor do it. I think it just occurred to me that maybe they see an opportunity that if things were to play out a certain way, they then would essentially be waiting in line to be a bidder for it. They're already one of the most wealthy families anyway.
Yep.
They stand to make $1.5 to $2 billion on this franchise.
Right.
They probably could buy the team outright and not have to get a lot of investment money.
Right.
And they've been in the region. There's no threat of them moving the team.
That's right.
They have already done exactly what the Commanders need, which is build a new stadium in a locale that needs to be acquired and redeveloped. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But I don't understand what they've been doing for months now. And there's part of me that feels like maybe they're just doing this to set themselves up for their next move. And that, to me, if they like professional sports, is the logical next move for that family.
Let me start poking holes here.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Overall, I think it's a good theory. You'd be right in that it was a little shocking to hear about the sale of the team.
Felt kind of,
but
really.
As you and I noted, the decks were cleared.
Yes.
And there weren't a lot of them to clear last year. I mean, they were holding on to this old core, got rid of the two best players, not named Juan Soto last year.
That's right.
The book is closed on Ryan Zimmerman. There's no real sentimental reason to hold on to the team on the roster-wise, essentially. Like, Juan Soto's here, but still a youngish player. I would say, though, it's still in the background that the Lerners are bleeding from real estate, essentially, from retail real estate.
Yeah.
That the malls they own, the retail strip malls that they own are not doing great, and that was a factor in them wanting to sell the team.
Clearly, they could be leveraged, and that's why they're doing it. And so that's why I'm saying, this is, I realize this is very Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah.
I realize
for sure.
that.
No, but I'm just, letting all my pins here. The other one is, that's a hell of a theory if you think that the NFL is going to let the team come up for sale in the next year, I guess would be the timeline.
Correct.
Right?
Well, and then, I mean, the Congress thing has always been really curious to me. Why are they interested in this?
Yeah.
Who is lobbying them to make them very interested in this?
Right, that could be part of it.
I've talked about this for a while, I know, the fetish people and the people who feel like he should be taken to task publicly, Dan Snyder, they seem to overlook the fact that Congress has been extraordinarily selective in this investigation, and they are not broadening it at all, which to me, I think exposes them for, why don't you tell me why you're really doing this, and why you're really spending Congress's time on this when what you claim this is about, you're not investigating broadly. You're only investigating a single entity. You're not having a broad conversation about the use of NDAs or workplace environment. If you were, you'd have people from other teams around the league, namely the Panthers, the Browns, the Texans, the Cowboys, the Raiders, all of which have easily Google searched accessed issues that are almost apples to apples to some of the things that happened here. But you didn't talk to any of them. So why are you doing this, right? On whose behalf are you doing this to get an outcome that we all know you want for whatever reason you want it, somehow to get Dan Snyder to sell the team? And, I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything, but we're in an interesting town where who's supporting what to make what happen? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. The other part with the NFL, too, with the Snyders, I would say this, is while they have protected the Snyder family by taking their side with the minority owners and also taking their side of just in general, that they also have let this process totally play out. It is not typically the NFL's best interest to let these things linger like this. They try to nip them in the bud.
Sure.
Roger Goodell did show up because he had to show up.
Right.
He has not in any way publicly taken some kind of hey, you guys made your findings.
Yeah, right,
I think
right.
you got your pound of flesh here. No, he's letting this play out. So I don't know. I don't know what I don't know here. I did find it odd, though, that this family is suddenly out of the game, but guess what's just kind of sitting there? That might one day, maybe, be available. And if it were to be, you couldn't own that baseball team to get them. You'd have to divest.
Correct. Yeah. It's an NFL rule that you can't have the same market team.
Mm-hmm.
My only other thing to add, though, would be they didn't pay for the stadium in D.C.
That's right.
City paid for the stadium.
Correct, but they were able to acquire it and negotiate the terms by which it was built.
Sure.
This particular ownership group with the Commanders has been so far incapable of doing it.
Right.
I don't think that's in perpetuity.
Yep.
For sure, they're going to get a stadium one way or the other, but they're running into a lot of problems right now.
Correct.
They're running into a lot of problems.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that the Lerner family would have an easy time greenlighting all this stuff, but they do have the proven track record of getting it done. So, and we all know that the place it should go, that everybody would be really happy about, is the RFK site, which, as of last check, still there is no plan to redevelop it whatsoever.
That's right.
Even after those council members browbeat why it's not going to be a football stadium. Well, what's it going to be then? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so that's your plan. Just keep it out of the hands of the NFL and worry about it later while it continues to get more dilapidated by the day.
Right.
That's your plan.
Catch on fire.
Yeah. Maybe, fingers crossed, it catches on fire.
Well, that happened when you were away. I don't know if you saw that.
It did?
Yeah, it did catch on fire.
And they put it out?
Yeah. It was something
Okay.
underneath the stadium. I forgot you were not.
Got
here.
it.
You were not here for that.
Okay. Look,
literal black smoke was coming out of the stadium, and the jokes wrote themselves.
I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just looking at. I just woke up today and I had an aha. Wait a minute, what's going on here?
Right.
Something doesn't. None of this has made any sense. The fact that we were having a take the money or we're going to trade you conversation about Juan Soto when he's got 2 years left on his contract or 2 years left of team, control, and the owners may not be the owners. The hell is going on here right now? Do they, as Scott Boras insinuates, if Soto's on the team is worth more and therefore the sale is worth more? Is that true?
I would assume that. I would. You've got a building block of a superstar player that's already won a championship here. The value is there. What's that value quantitate, though? Because
I don't know.
If he's only selling $1 million more in tickets every year, that's a drop in the bucket. Now, if you think
my thing on Harper was I don't know how you let him go because I just think he's so marketable that how do you're going to get your money back in marketing him,
right?
Selling tickets because of him, selling jerseys, there's just all sorts of things involved with having someone of this stature. I would think Soto is that. I don't know, but I would think he is.
Last night, yes.
Yeah, I would think he is.
That's the funniest part about last night, by the way. His price is, everyone's going, yeah, this guy's probably worth it. I guess, I don't know. I guess my theory there is also, Buster Olney alluded to this morning, whoever was filling in for Greeny, was that the next set of owners, there's an agreement of, you just need to have this figured out. The first thing we're doing is not making a move with Juan Soto, because if he decides...
Oh, so that's what this is.
So
but that's all of the groups? All the groups are saying that? How could they all speak?
I agree. So that's what I don't understand.
Because in the end, you go back, do you want to buy the team or not?
Right. But I guess, though, what Buster was alluding to was they want this thing figured out, and if he doesn't want to sign for a contract that is making everyone happy, they don't want to come in, buy the team. The first thing they do is trade Juan Soto, essentially. And so that, to me, seems actually the most logical thing here, is it's coming up out of nowhere. The next owner is basically saying, I want the team, but I don't want the first thing to be happening is trading away every kid's favorite player on the team and then hating me for the rest of their life.
Right.
That essentially, I need you to do the bidding here. And if you sign him, great. If you don't, I'm not going to be the one to do it, essentially.
I know, but they don't own the team. How do they dictate to the sellers that this is what it is if there's multiple parties that are... Because in the end, they go, we didn't want to trade him. We thought we were close. We think it's the wrong thing for the franchise as we walk out the door. Sorry, it's going to be your problem, but do you want to buy the team?
Right.
And oh, by the way, he is under contract here for the next 2 years, so it's not like you have to make this decision tomorrow.
Right.
You get a full year with him to show him who you are, meet him, see if you really want to make this commitment. You know, it's not like you're in any rush either. You'll have a year where he's still under control the year after that and spend that year getting to know the guy.
When we signed off yesterday, I left the show thinking there's no way they're trading that guy. Like, they want to gauge the interest right now. They want to really see what he's worth. Maybe they go and try to up that worth in the offseason at the winter meetings, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But prominently yesterday during the home run derby, Buster Olney was outright saying it. He's going to be traded in the next 2 weeks. And now, I don't believe Buster 100% because Buster also gets his sources from different people, but the fact that he was just saying it on a broadcast like that in front of the whole country has me hesitating now of whether he's going to be in a Nats uniform in the next 2 weeks. Because if he's saying it outright like that, that means a lot of people know about it and a lot of people think it's going to happen. Like, Buster yesterday after Soto won the Derby asked him 2 questions and then asked him about his future on the field. Like, say what you want about Buster. Like, I would have never asked that on that stage. But
I think it's very hard not to, though.
The fact that he asked it, though, tells me, like, there's enough smoke there that
I'm all right with him asking that question at that point because I know it's not timed well. And, you know, if there is one thing with the Nationals I would take issue with all of this is that publicizing this at the All-Star weekend threw this on top of him, and that's not fair to him. It really is.
Of course.
Like, you want to have a public, discussion about this in May. Yeah. And like make May suck. All right. But at the All-Star game, I thought that was a little unfair to him. But also, I think they knew by releasing it now that he'd be under a tremendous amount of public scrutiny, which he is. And I don't have a problem with Buster asking that question. How do you not ask that question at that point? Oh, you almost have to. This is your access to him.
Him and his family and his friend are all around him celebrating. I mean, I'm just...
I hear you, but like...
Fine, maybe
it's what everyone's thinking.
Maybe the fan in me is freaking out.
It's what everyone's thinking, and you don't know what he's going to say.
Yeah.
Like,
he did say he was a champion for the Washington Nationals. He did say that.
Yes.
That was his response.
All right, so you think I'm nuts, or you think...
I don't think you're nuts. I think your theory is plausible. I would say the percentage chance of that is not high. Yeah. But
I do feel like, though, if they divest out of the Nationals and they're just sitting there in wait...
There's one other thing here.
Wait, that's all.
There's one other thing here that I think is worth mentioning because I've thought it the whole time. When the new CBA was agreed upon between the players and the owners and Rob Manfred, there's clearly more of a hierarchy coming too in terms of what the owners are going to be paying players soon.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be a lot more money spent. And I think the owners were already waffling on that stuff. They never sign their guys. They sign pitchers. Right? Mm-hmm. There's this weird hierarchy for themselves of who they sign and who they don't sign. They let a generational talent walk out the door, albeit Juan Soto was sitting there. And here it is. They were negotiating with Bryce freaking Harper and it never got this ugly. Publicly, at least.
Publicly.
And that was in the last year when they were trying to compete. Now they're non-competitive. There's 2+ years left on this guy's deal, and they're freaking out about it. It tells me more or less that they're trying to get this done to make their names look good, but they're pulling out of the baseball game because it's getting too expensive for them, or they can't stomach what they're having to pay to keep the team competitive. So maybe. I think that's where it's coming down to.
Maybe. It could just be as simple as that. There is some market issues that have occurred because of the pandemic and their holdings, and the real estate holdings is a big portion of their thing. You could be right. Like, they have run into a lot of massive contracts. And they've been fortunate with that. Some of them by their own choice. They went and got Max Scherzer.
That's right.
Others, they drafted guys that ended up performing well and commanded a lot of money.
Yep.
They've had to make a lot of very difficult decisions. They get raked over the coals over Rendon and Harper and things like that. And now this one, This one, I think they know. This is the one you can't let him get away.
Correct.
You really can't.
Like this,
you just can't.
And I would just say
he's too young. He's too likable. He's too good a teammate. He's too good. He's too good.
The ramifications on the fan base for this one are going to be astronomical too.
I agree.
If he's gone,
I would not trade him in the next 2 weeks if I were them. Even if they couldn't get a deal done, I just wouldn't do it. I would. My position would be: we tried really hard to get a deal done with him.
Yeah.
But we've decided, because we didn't want to trade him, because he has 2 years left, and we wanted to give the next ownership an opportunity to re-engage with him.
Yeah.
Because we know how important he is to this organization, and we tried very hard. The ramping it up to 11 and scare tacticking, we're going to trade you. I agree. I don't like it. I think they could have done this in a much different way and just been like, look, we did offer him the largest contract ever.
Sure.
He took issues with somebody. You'll have to ask him what he took issues with.
Yeah.
But we believe he's too important for our legacy, for this team's legacy, to just make a rash decision basically on behalf of the next owners. So the next owners are going to have to make this decision. We tried, basically. We tried really hard.
Right.
Yeah.
I would just compare things to some of the lesser franchises, like the Pirates, the Reds. You can even compare the Orioles in the last 10, 15 years. They've all had the one guy that walks in, is the number one superstar, ends up being the best player on the team. There's not enough around him, so they trade him away for the best they can, right? Machado was that guy for the Orioles.
That's right.
The Nats have had like 4 or 5 of those guys.
That's true.
And eventually, you're not going to get another one. And I think that's where
we are.
This fan base is freaking out.
Where we are right now, let me take a quick break. We can continue this next. Bram watch the show. ESPN 630 Sports Capital. All right, so where were we on Soto? What were we talking about? You don't remember either.
I don't remember either. I did an update and forgot.
Okay. Let's see.
You want to roll the tape back? I can roll the tape back if you want.
Nah, we'll guess. Let's see. On the if they do trade him, we're going to make you take Corbin or Strasburg's contract. Both have no trade clauses. Therefore, I think it was Ken Rosenthal put that in, who said, well, they'd have to agree to that.
Well, if Corbin agrees to go to LA, I think he'd be fine going there.
If he does, right. If he does. If he agrees. So there's that.
Yeah.
Strasburg, by the way, is out for the year, or at least expected to be out. Not that anyone's surprised by
No,
this,
that was the the expectation, but it was unofficial at that point with the latest injury. So
well, we had
we're going to go on year 3 of not pitching.
4 years to go on that one.
Yeah.
4 years to go on that one. All right, so one of your theories with the Lerners getting out is they are wildly uncomfortable with what it costs to actually compete.
The climate of baseball is getting changed into tiers, essentially, and I almost think they're afraid of where they're going with this franchise because they spoiled the fan base for almost a decade. Mm-hmm. They were good for so long.
Yeah.
So the expectation is to get back there. Whereas when they bought the franchise, it was, Bryce Harper's coming up. Yeah, Steven Strasburg's going to come up. Uh-huh. Yeah, we drafted this guy Rendon. Oh, look, Ryan Zimmerman's still playing there. I don't really think they expected it to get this good and be competing for the division every year. And now that it's depleted, essentially, I don't think they like the prospect of what it's going to cost to rebuild them all over again.
What did Strasburg get on his contract? How much?
A lot of money. It was like $240 or
240?
something, I want to say.
Harper got $330, right?
Right.
Okay. Corbin got what? Do you remember?
It was like same thing, I thought, like a $200 million situation, something like that.
What did Rendon get? Do you remember that one?
Strasburg was $245.
Okay.
Rendon was, hold please. Rendon's contract was $245.
Okay. If they had retained Rendon, Strasburg, Corbin, Harper, and Soto, they would have committed, assuming Soto gets $450. Okay.
Corbin was 6 years, $140. So
$1.5 billion in salaries.
Right.
To a quarter of a team.
Right.
That's if they had retained all of them, which obviously they wouldn't have.
Correct.
But that's the waters they've been swimming in for a few years now.
Right.
Which is $1.5 billion for 5 people.
Right. Correct.
I could see where even the richest of the rich go, whoa.
Sure.
Whoa. what's going on. Like, that, by the way, is not far removed from what they're going to get for selling the team.
One of those you have to at least cancel out because they didn't sign Corbin until they knew Harper was gone.
Okay.
So you can
you
can play around with that. They basically, in quotes, saved $160 million.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that one at least. And that has been the normal thing with the Lerners. When somebody walks, they do spend in free agency and give out a contract usually. That's usually like the remedy to the situation. And once again, that's how they run business. That's fine. But I think they saw the writing on the wall here where things are in shambles in the farm system and they're going, it's going to be a little more pricey to build things around. And I think we want to pull out of this thing with the Juan Soto contract looming over them, which is going to be, honestly, if they agree to it, $500 million for however many years it is. I mean, that's what it's going to be. So I don't know. I think it's getting too rich for them and they're going, we're good. Let's let someone else do this. And also, I think it's worth saying they won a World Series with this core. Like, it is not going to get better than that World Series in terms of feeling about this franchise. Let someone else take over. The next Nationals team to win a World Series will not do it like the last team did, having foam parties in the dugout and coming from behind in every single game. I think part of it, too, is we've hit the high. And
I know, but, there's this... I want them to kick the can down the road and let the next group do it because I really... at some point you become that franchise.
Of course.
And
this is the one. I mean, this is the move that's going to stamp that if they don't get it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I don't like to think of the team in Washington, D.C. As being that franchise.
Top 10 market, you cannot be that team.
I agree. And the Orioles, they're in a trickier situation where they're going, well, when we used to be D.C.'s team, it was a whole different dynamic for us, but we're not now. Yeah. So it is what it is for us, guys, and we may not like it, but it's the truth. This team, I don't see, unfortunately, the excuse for being that team, and I think it's going to stick with them for a long time.
Well, the difference between the two, though, is the Nationals were good in 2019 and still were having trouble filling up the ballpark by the end of the season. I mean, it took them getting into the playoffs to sell it out, and it's a D-season event town. It always has been, right? The team up the road in Baltimore, if they were playing like the Nationals were in 2019, Camden Yards would be sold out every night. And that is a difference of the two cities.
Maybe which goes back to maybe the Lerners would be far more comfortable working in a salary cap situation.
Maybe. I think I would agree with you on that. And they know that they're spending up to that point.
It is what it
year.
is.
I would agree with you.
It's all you can spend.
I'd agree with you.
You do have to make very difficult decisions on star players.
Everyone kind of knows the drill, though.
Everybody has to make difficult decisions on star players.
Right.
Things are planned out 3-4 years in advance because of caps. You know, like you look at it and you go, okay, are we going to pay Payne? I don't know if we're going to pay Payne because we have to think about Sweat and Young. Why don't we kick that can down the road for a year, see how Montez plays, then we can make a decision. But like, it's a different dynamic, financial dynamic. Right. It's set up for you, and the best teams understand how to work their cap and keep it, within reason of remaining competitive for periods of time. And then they're, if you want to, and they've done this before, you want to load up for a year and know that there's going to be a price to pay in a couple of years, but you're taking a shot at a Super Bowl, go ahead, but you're not paying $1.5 billion to do it.
Right, and then your team might still suck.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, because Rendon got hurt. Strasburg has been hurt. Harper winning an MVP last year, the other 2 years he's been in Philly, has gotten hurt both years. Yeah. And with multiple injuries.
This year, too.
He's hurt yeah, right, exactly.
And they have been in the playoffs, so they've looked fine with this because he hasn't made the playoffs yet.
I mean, that is your warning story up there in Philly.
And I like to reiterate in defense of the Lerners, while the structure of that deal was not great, they did offer him a market contract and in fact offered him more total guaranteed money than the Phillies did, actually. Yeah. Per year. If you want to do this per year thing, actually, the Nationals offered him more per year than the Phillies did when he ultimately took. So if you want to have a conversation about, well, he left money on the table. Yeah, Bryce Harper left money on the table to leave. Well, that happened.
He also had deferments into his 50s.
I know. I get it. But if you are going to talk about guaranteed overall value of a contract, he actually did take less per year to leave to go somewhere else. That did happen.
Right.
Anyway, everybody wrote a piece about Soto today.
Who didn't?
SI wrote one too. And there were a couple of small revelations, especially from Boris, that were not great. He's revealed a couple of things here. after the player is fully aware that these things are done to this is what Boris said about what's going on with Soto and maybe why the Lerners would want to do this now. The player is fully aware that these things are done to optimize franchise value, are done to show the owner that they've got something of great value so they can optimize their sale, because I don't think any player is going to sign with an owner that he doesn't know. Okay, so the Lerners, but that's kind of not the Lerners' problem if they are intending to sell, and they're also walking at a time where there are 2 years left, not one,
right,
on his team control. So, you could say back to Boris, he's got a full year to get to know this new ownership group because he ain't going anywhere. And then when we get around to the winter meetings 2023, then we can talk about it. Sure. But you'll have a whole year, to get to know who this is and whether he'd want to be there and hear the plan out. Then he said this. We want all our discussions to be private. We know that they're not, and I'm sure Juan will take that under advisement as he goes forward. All I know here is that the Atlanta Braves and Juan Soto played a game yesterday. The Atlanta Braves arrived 5 hours earlier than Juan Soto did. You want to know why? Because their team chartered a plane. Juan Soto had to fly on a commercial flight and wait in an airport for 2 hours and get here at 1:30 in the morning and have to compete in the home run derby. And that's something that Major League Baseball did not take care of, and that's something that the Washington Nationals did not take care of.
Yeah.
So he's getting dirty now.
Well,
that's a dirty thing to put out, to say when you're talking about someone who just offered your client $440 million.
Right. Well, I think everyone's reaction to that is you just put up almost $500 million and you can fly this guy out there.
I know.
I mean,
and also,
because what also happened too? Did you hear what happened with the A's?
I heard about that. The A's guy was on, and
same thing.
Whoever was there took him with them.
The Astros heard about it and took him with them. So that would be my other thing. There is if you're the Nats, you couldn't at least say to the Braves, hey, we'll hook it up next time you need a favor and take our guy.
I also now, because all the pundits are saying it so much, I still don't think they're going to trade him in the next 2 weeks. And maybe that's just, I hope they don't.
I'm feeling more gray about it than I ever have.
I hope they don't. And maybe they want everybody to think they're going to do it, because if he does indeed want to stay, which I think is up for debate, then he's going to be pressured to get a deal done, and he's going to pressure Boris to figure out the right thing and just get it done, even if you don't like the final number. It is still the biggest contract, guaranteed money in history. So, let's not get too nitpicky about that.
Well, this is also what I was saying yesterday was their whole. First off, I still think it needs to be said one more time. It worked. The Nats have to make him one more offer, and Hector Gomez's quote was, "It'll be better." Which
will be better.
Him turning it down did work.
Probably the total money will go up a slight bit, and the years will go down a slight bit, and that'll be it.
Probably
14 years for 50.
Probably something in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to feel that pressure now of, if I say no to this, I'm being moved. Correct. And I don't know where I'm being moved, and where I moved to, like Buster Olney was saying about San Diego, is I might get moved and I won't get the extension there because they just only want me for 3 pennant runs, and then they're going to let me go. And to your point, he's going, the Nats could sign me right now and I tear up my next 2 years and I'm making $40 million a year, or whatever it is, the $35 million a year. Would I rather just do that now than have to deal with this all over again in another market?
If Rod Manfred
he might feel the pressure.
He might, yeah. If Rod Manfred cared about baseball, which is in question, but if he did, he's already had this news cycle ruin the home run derby and make it about that.
Yes, he did.
I would be calling the Lerners going, if you leak that you've made an improved offer, like Aaron Rodgers talked about getting traded the night of the draft.
That's right.
And you turn our All-Star game into being about this, we're going to be pissed. Like really, really, really pissed. Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
Play the All-Star game. Wait till tomorrow.
Well, it doesn't matter. They're going to talk about it tonight anyways.
They are. But if they put out the breaking news, here comes Ken Rosenthal going, the Nationals have improved their offer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We're trying to reach Scott Boras for comment.
Yeah.
And then in the 6th inning, Boras gives some snarky comment about how they're turning it down. Oh.
Right. Here's the other thing, too. There's not even an excuse to get out of this because Soto's not starting tonight. So whenever he gets inserted into the game or comes up as a pinch hitter,
then it'll become a big deal.
It's not only going to get talked about, it becomes the only thing that gets talked about on the broadcast.
If I were him, he can't wear the mic and the headset in the field and talk to the broadcasters.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Not happening.
No chance that's happening.
Who's calling that tonight? Burkhart? Is Joe Buck out now? Is he already out?
It's got to be Burkhart,
Buck normally called the All-Star game, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Is this the first thing that Buck goes, boy, I wish I didn't do what I did? Is this the first one?
How come I feel like it's Shambi is going to get it for TV?
Is it on? It's on ESPN.
Yeah.
Oh, so
it wouldn't be Fox. Yeah.
Oh, so Buck could have been calling it then.
Could have been.
He's not.
Yeah.
So it's probably Shambi?
Probably. That's what I think.
Because he's the voice of Sunday Night Baseball right now?
Right.
I don't know. I don't watch, obviously.
Matchups have
You know
been
who else
local.
doesn't watch baseball? Boomer.
You want to play that clip? Can we play that clip?
I don't mind.
All right. I think we should play
You want to do that next?
Yeah.
Okay. Bram Weinstein Show, ESPN 630, Sports Capital. I think it's safe to say that Chris Berman is a big reason why the home run derby got popular. Don't you think? He was part of it.
He's a reason.
The back, all that stuff. I think,
some people liked it,
let's give
other people didn't.
I won't have Andy on this show to talk about it, but
Don't have Andy on.
No. I have far more respect for the one and only Chris Berman than I think Andy does. I have a different take on Berman and his role in sports broadcasting. And I think he's a legend personally.
I would agree with you on that.
And I agree that some of his stuff is clownish and some of it is dated, but he was a trailblazer.
Yeah.
In all this
I'd
stuff.
agree.
He was a total trailblazer in all this stuff.
I can respect him being an icon. I'm not going to ever take that away from him.
He's iconic to me.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't do it the way he did it, and some of it is kind of ridiculous, and a lot of people tried to emulate him, but there was kind of no one who did it, and you know what? In 2022, he's still on TV doing it.
For sure.
So, he's an icon.
To correct us going to break, Fox does still have the MLB All-Star Game. I was getting confused with our broadcast tonight. Joe Davis is the voice for the MLB right now for the Fox broadcast. He'll be with John Smoltz. Ken Rosenthal and Verducci will be in the dugouts, I guess, respectively.
That's going to be dueling information
gonna
right
guess
there.
Verducci's in the old NL dugout on that, probably.
Rosenthal just did the original breaking news. He did the original breaking news.
Right.
Juan Soto turned down a $440 million contract.
True.
So we've got dueling information guys tonight.
Definitely have one team Lerner and one team Soto Boris, probably.
I have a feeling both of them will be yelling at their producer, when he's finished, let me weigh in. Let me weigh in. Right. I've got something to say about this, too. Right. It's going to be that one.
Radio broadcast is old friend Boo Shambi and the normal crew for the ESPN radio.
This is the one. Does Joe Buck finally start regretting his decision? Is this the night he watches this and he goes, I could be calling that?
That's right. Right.
I call that every year. I could be calling that.
To be fair, I will never...
I think it's going to hit him when he gets the World Series, and he's like, why am I not calling that?
To be fair, Buck did say something along the lines of, I can't wait to be on an island.
Sure.
Sipping a drink and not calling the game or something.
Guess what? You won't be. You're going to be on Monday Night Football's broadcast of Tennessee versus Minnesota, pal. Right. You're not going to be sitting on an island.
Right.
Anyway, all right, so speaking of Chris Berman, I sent you this last night.
It's infuriating.
He was on coverage of the All-Star festivities.
Yep.
Kevin Connors is the host. You'll hear him ask a question. And this is as softball as it gets. But wait till you hear the answer. So Kevin Connors has Chris Berman there, who, of course, called all these home run derbies forever and ever and ever. And he asked him you'll hear it, a very, very simple open-ended question.
And us on this side of the table, we're excited to see you. Who are you excited to see here tonight?
Well, I don't know the younger players personally like I used to back when I was doing it all the time, Kevin. I hate to keep going back to Albert for a minute because there's some young guys that I want to tell a story in a minute. It won't be that long. Don't worry. Scott Colley in the truck. But just that Albert would do it with, quote, 6 home runs. And
first, I don't even know where he's going with that. But it was the wheels were turning. I don't remember anybody who's in this, nor have anything to say about any of them. And if this was the slam dunk contest, I'd hear him out on that because 99% of the time now, the participants in that are not stars. They're not even starters on their teams.
Right.
Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna, Kyle Schwarber. These are World Series champions, guys with long contracts, best players in the game.
If you don't know Julio Rodriguez, fine.
You don't know who Pete Alonso is? You've never heard of him?
He's won it 2 times in a row.
You don't know. Wait a minute. After today, Chris, were you on Twitter? Do you not know who Juan Soto is now? How does he not just say Juan Soto at that point?
Here's the other thing. There's a desk there. A bracket has to be sitting on everybody's plate right there.
The question for the producer, because he's wearing an earpiece.
Yeah.
Do you hit the button and go, say Juan Soto?
Yeah. Right. Alonso, three-peat.
Yeah.
Just
Pete Alonso could win it 3 times in a row.
right.
Say that.
Right.
Just say that.
And that's an easy out.
No.
He's done it before. He's going to do it again. Easy.
No idea. I like that he admitted, I don't watch any of these people.
I don't know who the young guys are
So
personally.
I'm going to go back to Albert Pujols, who's been irrelevant
Yes.
for 6 years.
Sorry, let me go to the 40-year-old. Because they're all young, Boomer.
Oh, man. That was something. Do you follow Madden ratings?
A little bit.
Because that's happening this week?
A little bit. I don't play it anymore because it's just not a good game, and you can at me on that if you want, but I pay attention to it enough, yes.
Really? You don't like it?
No, it's the game is terrible these days.
What do you mean?
I
like it. My son loves it.
Yeah,
He
I mean,
plays
that's fine. Your son didn't play the good versions 10 years ago when they were still
What do you think's
playable.
wrong with it?
The game mechanics are just terrible. It used to be so much better.
Oh, I disagree. I don't know, but I'm
fine.
playing with him, and I'm having a blast
If he
playing
has-
with him. And
if
I think
you guys
it's cool.
having fun, good. For
He's
me-
here's why I love it. He's learning the sport through it.
Yeah, of
And
course.
for me, I don't care how it filters down to him. I want to have this connection with him. So if he knows more about the NFL now because of Madden. And you know what? And he sits there and he has conversations with me about this player, that player. Who do you think they're good? Do you think they should be this? Do you think they're that? And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that part of it.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, for me, I don't get much out of it. I'd rather play something else. Is what I'm basically getting at here.
So I've only seen a couple, right, for the specific positions.
Yeah.
But there were a couple that I think there was one that I think people should be happy about. Terry McLaurin got from them 8th best ranking. And if you think that that's low, here are the people who are ahead of him. Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans. That's it. I bet you Ron likes that. Now that he gave him all that money, that at least Madden is saying, we think he's one of the best receivers in the NFL.
I saw this tweet only because they made a story out of the likes. Because a wide receiver liked the list that wasn't on the list.
Who?
Jamar Chase.
Oh, because he's not in the top 10.
So then all the Bengals people were like...
Tied for 8 was Keenan Allen. 10 was Amari Cooper. I would agree Jamar Chase probably should be on this list.
And so all the Bengals people were like, watch out, Jamar's going to go crazy. He's going to play better because of Madden. But essentially, he's going to use that as motivation.
All right, so here we are. I like this.
A little respect.
A little respect. We got a little bit of respect. A.J. Brown's not on that list.
Right.
Devontae Smith's not on that list. Jamar Chase.
Right.
Feels like an oversight. Not on that list. So I actually felt good about that.
Here's what I will say about Madden. They tend to be hesitant to hand things over to first and second year players.
As they should.
Correct. And here's the other thing about Madden ratings. They update them every week. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean Terry McLaurin's going to stay at 91 all year. It means he got to be better, or if he sucks, he's going to go down to an 85 or something. So that's what always is funny to me about Madden ratings. They update the game every week.
The other one I saw, and I don't really think that there's an argument for it, but Logan Thomas ranked 21st on tight ends.
Okay.
Which did feel low. I didn't expect him in the top 10. Here's the top 10. Kelsey, Kittle, Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts, who I think is going to be a freak.
Yep.
If they ever get a quarterback there with him, he's going to be a freak. Gesicki, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, and then Hunter Henry, which I guess you could probably have an argument about.
I guess so, yeah.
But you'd have to pick the 10th best tight end to beat him, so
Right.
We'll get around to that when we get around to that. 21st for Logan Thomas. If he wants to be pissed about something, maybe that's one for him to be pissed about.
I'd say because Madden is based off the year before. He was not only hurt, the quarterback situation was messy. I think it's about right for him.
And the other ones that I think ought to, I don't know if they care, but just so they know, edge rushers, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Von Miller, which feels a little high for him these days, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Cam Jordan, DeMarcus Lawrence, Chandler Jones, Rashawn Gary.
Okay.
No Chase Young, no Montez Sweat. Neither one of them.
I'm okay with that.
They got knocked out a peg.
Correct.
Because it was at this time last year when they told us they were going to break the combined sack record.
That's right.
So they got to earn their Madden ratings back, let alone sack records and things like that.
Yep.
Whoop, there it is. All right, I'll be right back. Bray Boyce Show, ESPN 630, Sports Capital.